Hey guys, Greg Knuckles here, and today we're talking about rep speed. Specifically, how fast should you be trying to push the bar if you're trying to get as strong as you possibly can? This is something that's been debated for a while. As far back as 30 years ago, guys like Fred Hatfield were saying every set, every rep, as fast as you possibly can for the best strength gains. People with more of a bodybuilding background have been saying, oh, you should slow down your rep speed because that'll give you more time under tension. More time under tension means bigger muscles mean stronger muscles. So there's been a bit of a dispute there with the powerlifting and weightlifting community being more on the side of you should push every rep as fast as possible, and people with more of a bodybuilding background typically saying, no, it's okay to slow it down, or perhaps even better to slow it down a little bit. So a recent study was published this past May called Maximal Intended Velocity Training Induces Greater Gains in Bench Press Performance Than Deliberately Slower Half Velocity Training. First, the theory behind faster training being better is that as you produce more force, you have to recruit bigger and stronger muscle fibers. Basically, the smallest, weakest fibers are recruited first, typically slow twitch fibers, and then the larger, stronger, faster twitch fibers are progressively recruited, and then the biggest, largest, strongest are recruited at the very end. If you have a given weight, force is mass times acceleration. So all other things being equal, if you move it faster, you produce more force, so you're recruiting more of those big, strong muscle fibers, and so that's going to get you stronger faster. And that sounds great in theory, except for the fact that most research to this point, but there were some methodological problems with the past research. The biggest thing probably is a lot of the previous studies had looked at training to failure, and basically found that there wasn't too much difference that rep speed made when you're pushing each set to failure. Regardless of how fast you're trying to push the bar, if you're going to failure, all of your reps at the end are going to be slow anyways. So even though they were trying to control for bar speed, they didn't actually measure bar speed to determine whether that's what was actually making a difference, is specifically focus on training not to failure. So the volume was the same, the intensity was the same, the only difference was how fast the people were actually pushing the bar. I trained for 6 weeks, and kind of the eye-popping thing, and I'll flash graphs up for you, is that across the board, the maximal velocity group had essentially twice the gains. So both groups had larger improvements in bar speed with relatively heavy loads than they did with relatively light loads. And from there we can see something about training transference. So let's say you're a double body weight squatter, or thereabouts. Your body is a relatively light load, so moving relatively heavy weights really improves your ability to move relatively heavy weights fast.